Hello, AP Psychology. Sorry, I didn't realize I pressed the button, but I'm ready. So sorry this took a little bit to get to you. So cognition, we talked about memory. Now we're going to talk about memory and forgetting because you don't remember everything that's ever happened to you that you've ever heard. You do forget. We're also going to talk about the difference between short and long-term memory and different types of memories. So here we go. If I can, uh, here we go. All right. So short-term memory. The brain constantly processing information and storing into memory. Learning that has persisted over time, and this information cycle first goes into your short-term memory and then is encoded into your long-term memory, or maybe it's not, right? So everything that you take in, first think of it like a storing area, like it hangs out in your short-term memory. So the short-term memory itself is activated memory that holds a few items briefly, right? So you can often remember 7 digits of a phone number briefly when entering a contact, and the information is soon stored, but then you forget it. I have terrible short-term memory, I think, because I will, if you forget your password or something, and then they text you a code, and then I'll read it to myself 12 times, and I go type it in, and I can't remember it. But that's the idea, is that it's something that's going into that, it's hanging out for like a second, a little bit of time, and then you often lose it, or it becomes a long-term memory, but we'll get there in a second. So short-term memory is divided into like three categories: sensory, iconic, and echoic. We're going to go over all those. So the last two are specific to visual and sound. So sensory memory is the immediate, very brief recording of sensory information. Think of your senses, right? Touch, taste, smell, etc. So a scent can be recalled immediately after encountering the smell, but if asked an hour or a day later, you would not remember it. So maybe when we get back to, being able to leave the house, and you go to a store and you smell a candle and you think, oh, my mom's gonna love this. Mother's Day is coming up, kids. Um, you smell it's great, and then someone asks, what'd you get your mother for Mother's Day? The next day, oh, I got her candle. What does it smell like? Hmm. That may not have gone into that long-term memory. That may have just lived in your short term for a little bit. So that's the sensory memory. Those have to do with your senses, specifically touch, taste, and sound. All right. So then there's iconic memory and echoic, which some of you referenced in Wednesday's discussion question. So iconic is the momentary sensory memory of visual stimuli, a picture image, memory lasting no more than a few seconds. So you're shown an image for a few seconds, you recall it and recreate it, the details for a short time, but as the seconds go by, the details and accuracy diminish. So in the first page of this slide, there's a dude in glasses scratching his head. Right now, if I ask you to draw a picture of him, you probably can. Tomorrow, you may remember, oh, he had a bow tie, he had glasses, but some of you will only remember that he had a goatee, some of you won't, some of you remember the glasses, some of you won't, right? It's that image memory that you have that was there momentarily and then kind of disappears. I guess it's not really a scientific way of going of describing that, but as discussed in one of the videos, um, we don't know exactly how your memory works. We think that it disappears forever, but maybe it's just stored somewhere else. But I won't get too into that. Hold on a second. All right, then there is echoic memory. Think echo, echo, echo. This is the momentary sensory memory of auditory stimuli. You hear something, right? Echoic memory occurs even if attention is elsewhere. The sounds and words seem to echo in our head for 3 to 5 seconds. Um, so in the example, it's kind of funny if you were sitting there not paying attention and the teacher goes, "What did I just say?" You might actually be able to tell that person what they just said because of your echoic memory. Even though you're not consciously thinking about it, it's what you're hearing. And think of sounds that you're hearing kind of echoing in your ears for 3 to 5 seconds. So even if you're not consciously aware of it, you're still taking in that information briefly, momentarily. All right, long-term memory. So long-term memory is the relatively permanent and limitless storehouse of the memory system. It's located primarily in the cerebral cortex, and the long-term memory includes your knowledge, your skills, experience. It's everything, right? From how to walk to ride a bike to hopefully the research methods, and things of that nature. So with millions of different combinations of neurons in the brain, there's a near limitless capacity to learn, as no human could permanently fill all the neurons in a lifetime. And I don't know which unit we brought it up, but this idea that you only use 10% of your brain is really just a strange statement, because if there really is no limit to how much you can learn, based on the neurons that are functioning, if your brain is properly functioning, right? So potential types of long-term memory. One type of long-term memory that often has sustainable staying power is procedural. So these are motor movements like riding a bike or walking or dancing or swimming, right? It's something that you learn to do with skill. I would also state that, let's say you are a electrical installation major in our school, and 20 years go by and you don't pick up any equipment and do anything, and then in 20 years you decide to moonlight as an electrician. Those motor skills, that procedural memory, should kick in. I mean, you're not going to be as perfect as you were when you were, here at Queen's Tech, but that stuff is stuck in your memory. It's like muscle memory is another way to think of it, but don't use that phrase. We use procedural. But you may have easy time getting back into the swing of things because it's part of your procedural memory that goes into long term. Then we have clear memories known as flash bulb moments. Vivid, emotionally significant. What I love this term because it kind of, if you think of like a old timey um, camera, when you took a picture, a big flash bulb went off, right? This big light. So let me see if I can get a little video because I don't know if everyone knows. All right, this is just a quick photo that I Google searched. But this is the camera, and this is the light that goes off when they take the picture. So flashbulb memories are like pictures that are stuck in your brain that you can almost, feel what was there, the smell, or you can relive it. It's such a vivid memory. So I love that term. Sorry if I just mess it up. I love that term because it really is a illustrative of what that memory is like. And unfortunately, for many of you, I think this time in our life is going to be a flashbulb memory. Flashbulb memories are usually triggered by something emotionally significant. So it could be something really wonderful, like a birth or a birthday that was special, or just a special day with a family member. But it could be something tragic, like what we're going through right now, loss, um, dark times in our lives. So, but anyways, it's emotionally significant moment that you remember just like you were there. Okay, long term potentation, LTP, right? All right. The reason flashbulb memories are believed to be so clear and long lasting is due to the phenomenon known as long term potentation, an increase in neuron firing potential after a brief rapid stimulation. So, meaning, I don't want to make this one so dark because right now is such a terrible time. Let me think of the last. Oh, it hasn't happened yet. So I'll come up with something that hasn't happened as my new memory, but it's gonna happen, so it'll be a memory. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is when Jack walks, this kid still isn't walking. Weighs 26 pounds. I gotta lug him everywhere. But anyways, I'm not complaining. It's okay. So when Jack finally walks, right? That moment when I see that, when I see his little feet moving, his little body, right? The neurons in my brain are gonna see it and go crazy bananas. They're gonna go firing. They're gonna go nuts because this is something I've been waiting for this, right? So that's why that moment will be a flashbulb memory for me, because it's going to be the first time I see it. My neurons are going to go crazy. It's the scientific reason for why. Oh, sorry about that. I don't want to start exploring today. That's the reason why you remember it. All right. What this essentially means is that when a particular memory is coupled with a surge of neural and emotional activity, right? Dopamine, serotonin, something embarrassing, scary, don't want to talk about that. Happy moments too. We seem to recall that memory with better detail, accuracy, vivid imagery. It's the stronger emotional, which is your neurological surge that makes that memory stronger than others might be. So the theory of LTP and emotions being linked to memory has been confirmed in lab tests on patients using drugs that block LTP. So patients with their LTP processes blocked experience reduced memory speed and efficiency. So emotional arousal can sear certain events in our memory and inhibit neutral memories around the same time. So, meaning the beautiful day which Jack decides to walk, whatever I have for dinner that day, I'm not going to remember that, right? Maybe I saw a television show, I'm not going to remember that. Maybe it was this lesson I was teaching, maybe I'll do it today, I'm not going to remember this, right? So, it kind of it takes up so much energy for you to remember it that you may not remember the things around it, the other events of that day or that moment. So there's a good evolutionary evidence for this process, as the prioritizing of emotional arousing events often results in us remembering, unfortunately, traumatizing, dangerous, or exceedingly successful moments that either avoid or replicate in the future, right? Meaning, if something terrible happens, you don't want it to happen again to you. That's partly why you remember it so clearly. All right. All right, I want to keep these videos under 15 minutes, so I'm going to stop here at LTP, and then the next video is about how to help you keep memories and then some memory disorders, okay? So I hope that was helpful. I'm going to stop here to keep these videos a little bit shorter.